For at least 3 decades, the government had been warned about reducing the number of its current personnel by many entities. Each time, the government would ignore the valuable advice due to fear of the looming social problems this decision would create. To make matters worse, more and more staff members are appointed at a dangerously high speed, defended by the same weak pretext every time. In 2006, the Meron Commission, National Commission of Public Finance, gave this advice for the situation at the time: limiting the increase in government employees to a maximum of 3% per year, as opposed to the staggering 6.3%, would result in a surplus of about 25 million florins after 3 years, then 2009. But unfortunately, what was done instead was a rapid increase in employment. Due to the ignorance and negligence of the Aruban government, the much-needed measurements were not taken, causing a massive budget failure of 157 million Aruban florins. So, how can the government employment issue be remedied? Politicians and/or political parties should no longer be in charge of this procedure. Through the Aruban history, the government has shown a lack of responsibility towards this task, and continue to do so to this day. This obvious solution to this very obvious problem has long since been proposed by the STU, Sindicato de Union, in 1995. They advised that the government hand over the task of employing workers to an independent office, designated to meet the needs and capacity of staff members. Put simply, depoliticize government employment. As a second step, an analysis of the government must be carried out. What are its nuclear tasks and the number of employees necessary to fulfill those tasks? All this must be based on a law that determines the number of tasks and sanctions in the event of infraction by the government. Thirdly, simply stick to the already existing law of employment, while the governor should have the authority to decline employments that do not comply with the law in any way. Now, the towering question remains: why does the government of Aruba, or rather the political and government parties in power, carry out such catastrophic personnel management and financial administration, going against all warnings, recommendations, and advice of all who truly have the interest of Aruba at heart? In order to answer this question, one must take project management into account.